Okay. Quick intro. As you know, on December 31, 2020, Adobe Flash will vanish from Google and Chrome. And all your favorite Flash games will become unplayable. So I'm going to review all of the Flash games I played during my childhood in less than 12 minutes. Now, I usually go to these 6 sites when I'm going to play some Flash games, but 3 of these sites died long ago. So all that's left are Fireboy and Cool Math Games. One of the dead sites, Disney Playhouse, had a game called Ooh and Ah's Fetch a Fruit. Somebody actually archived it. By the way, no one cares what site you play your Flash games in. As long as the game is playable, I don't mind. Enough with the intro. Let's begin. Bob. Basically, you're a snail and you clear all the hazards to get to Grandpa's birthday, while your present goes to an underground conveyor belt. Inside the present is a plant for your grandpa. How sweet. I like how Bob plays his own game and the level he's playing never exists in the actual game. The soundtrack is pretty good. Overall, it's decent. Raft Wars. You're Simon, a baby who found gold and diamonds and has to defend himself against pirates, Vikings and some of Simon's neighbors with the help of your brother. The sequel, Raft Wars 2, is a huge improvement to Raft Wars but stays true to its origins. The story takes place 6 months later from the original game. Soundtrack is smooth and has good replay value. Fireboy and Watergull. Oh my word. How do I review Fireboy and Watergull? Fireboy and Watergull are huge for a Flash game. There are 8 levels, 2 levels with sublevels and another 2 sublevels within the sublevels. Not only that, there are 5 sequels to Fireboy and Watergull. Fun fact, the original Fireboy and Watergull is unplayable on Y8. You will only see this. Difficulty is gradual and I love it. Happy Wheels demo version. It's the one Flash game my parents won't let you play. Heck, the only time you would play this is when you're home alone or if your parents are busy. Why this game? You will see why. Since this is the demo version, you're limited and you only have 4 characters, one of which is available in the full version. For a demo version of a game, it's great. Cannon basketball. You control an infinity enchanted cannon shooting basketballs. For whatever reason, there is an exact same clone on Y8 called Basketball Cannon, which is exactly the same thing. A true clone. If you don't believe me, just look and tell me the difference. Difficulty is gradual. The soundtrack is oddly familiar. Now, take a listen. Comment down below if you know anything about this. Bartender the right mix. Honestly, I actually like the original version better. Version 2.0.3 feels like a reskin of the original version. But count your blessings, because the original gameplay is still there with some added features. As a kid I always found bartenders' reactions funny. Now let's just make a milkshake to pay respect. Why did the milk come out green? I don't wanna know. Next game. Wheelie. It's the same concept with Bob, but with sequels. There are 7 sequels to Wheelie. Each of them has its own story and theme. In the original Wheelie, the main character gets replaced in level 5. In one of the sequels, you get to time travel. By the way, if the game skips to level 15, don't try to play level 14. Because this might happen to you. Next game. Red Ball 4. I remember only playing part 4 of Red Ball and not everything else, unfortunately. There are 5 sequels to Red Ball, and I so happen to play one of their sequels, Red Ball 4. Basically, you're a ball trying to save your fellow balls from becoming a cube. The whole operation is run by Cube. The soundtrack is nice and the controls are like controlling a ball. So it's pretty good. Truck loader. You're a gas-powered robot with a magnet as its hands. Using your magnet to pick up cargo, load them in a truck and place them in the right order. It's so nice to wave goodbye to the driver using the robot's hand. The controls are decent. The gameplay is a nice concept, a pretty basic one at least. Difficulty is gradual and the soundtrack is pumping at best. Now that's decent. Sand Castle. Your kingdom is under attack by 7 menacing naval forces. Luckily, with some help from grey children from the stars, they were able to create the most sophisticated weapons ever to be developed on Field 51. Probably that's how they got the pencil flicker and unlimited rocks. But what truly perplexes me is when the ships capsize, they don't die. Why? Also, it doesn't play on Y8. Crazy Racing. Basically the early desert racing for Cyberpunk 2077. Seriously. The graphics look like the Boss Baby, back in business, but with more lighting. How I came across this game is beyond me. But what I know is that there are 3 levels. There are only 4 cars to pick. But at least the soundtrack is nice. If you can hear it through the loud engine. It's not a Flash game, unfortunately. Renegade Racing. It's a 2D racing game with side quests. There are 18 levels in total, each with its own side quest. Every 3 levels have its own theme, from mountains to under a volcano. In the garage, you can upgrade your car or buy cars or unlocking cars by completing side quests, 3 of which are movie references. The soundtrack is absolutely hardcore and the difficulty is gradual. Penguin Diner. A penguin named Penny, not the lady in The Big Bang Theory or The Coin, got lost, broke and needed to get home. So she lands a job as a waitress in a local diner. You're the owner of all 3 cafes. Basically you're guiding Penny by kicking in stuff around the cafe. By the way, half of your customers are simps. Which is a good thing, since you needed the cash to get home. Hot Dog Bush. Now this game deserves a sequel. Why? Even though it's a basic cooking game. The concept is funny. The best part of the game is the cutscene at the beginning. Now that's Flash content at its finest. Now this is not an easy game, since customers are pretty impatient. But overall it deserves a sequel. AZ. It's a 2 or 3 player battle royale. The last player standing wins a point. There's nothing much about it really. It has power-up, machine gun, laser, big ball and rocket. There is an exact same clone on Y8 called Tank Trouble, which is exactly the same thing. Hey, at least they changed the title. The controls are decent, but overall, if you have friends around, the game would be a blast. There is no game.
There's nothing.
Just like the title, there's nothing really.
What have you done?
Divide. You basically divide wooden blocks using the power of the line. Now that's a sharp line. Really sharp. There are 29 levels, counting the end slice. The difficulty is gradual and the soundtrack is relaxing like cafe music. It's almost like the soundtrack would be played in a Starbucks or straight from it. Overall it's a nice game. Run. You're a grey alien that runs and runs and runs. The gameplay is pretty cool and the levels are mesmerizing. You need to avoid gaps or you need to start at the beginning of the level. The soundtrack is better than gym music and matches the theme perfectly. Run has 2 sequels each with its own soundtrack and gameplay design. Overall, it's decent. Jelly Truck. You're an all-wheel drive truck made out of jelly and with help of some power-ups or by going to the next level. You can become a race car with all-wheel drive, and a tractor, also with all-wheel drive. Since the vehicles are made out of jelly, you can expect them to wobble a lot. The soundtrack matches well with the theme of the game, the difficulty is gradual and there's nothing to complain about. Lossix 2. You knock off green blocks with metal balls to rack up 100 points or more to move on to the next level. There are 30 levels in total and when you launch a ball, depending on the ball, you spend points. The soundtrack matches well with the theme of the game, the difficulty is gradual and it can be frustrating.
Ooh and Oz, fetch a fruit! I'm getting hungry! Me too! And you know what that means! Fruit time! Will you help us collect some juicy snacks? Here's how to play.
Like I said, someone archived it. It's basically digital connect the dots. The best part of the game is when you're done collecting all the fruits, you can scribble everywhere and you would go crazy. As long as you connect it to the other tree. Unfortunately, it does not work, so the best I can do is this.
Here we go!